Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Khalid Ahmed, and for today's panel discussion on how enterprises can leverage cloud for business growth. We all know cloud has revolutionized the way business operate, offering unprecedented level of scalability, agility, and cost efficiency. As businesses strive to thrive in today's dynamic market, embracing the cloud has become essential for driving growth and innovation. From startups to multinational corporations, organizations of all sizes and industries are harnessing the power of cloud to revolutionize their operations, unlock new revenue streams, and give a competitive edge in the market. Today's discussion will be a collaborative exploration of various ways enterprise can leverage the cloud to unlock their full potential. We have a distinguished panel of experts here with us today with diverse experiences and insights to share. They'll guide us through the opportunities and strategies for harnessing the power of cloud, addressing common challenges, and maximizing the return on investment. So without any further ado, please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists. First, we have Vikas Hazrati. Vikas is a global CTO at Nasdaq. Hey, Vikas, how are you?
I'm good, Khalid. Thank you.
Thank you. Then we have Phil Wendt. Phil is Global Delivery Director at Nasdaq. Hey, Phil.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. Then also we have with us is Rahul Miglani. Rahul is the Senior VP Engineering and Head of Cloud Practice at Nasdaq. Hi, Rahul. Welcome today.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
All right. And then Ash Vekaria finally. He is the Application Management Specialist, Solution Practice Lead at Nasdaq. Hey, Ash, welcome.
Good morning, evening, and afternoon as well to everybody who's joined.
Yeah, pleasure to have you guys. Thank you. So we have a great panel, ladies and gentlemen, and this session is designed to interact. So please feel free to ask any questions and contribute to the conversation. But first, let us take a moment and get to know our panel and learn more about their background. Vikas, if can you start with you, please?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Khalid. So I'm Vikas. I work out of the Nasdaq Toronto office, primarily taking care of our clients here in North America, helping them with their technology decisions and their success with technology. So that's me.
Thank you. Next on my screen is Phil. Phil, if you can please.
Hey, yeah, so I'm Phil Wendt. I'm the International Delivery Director at Nasdaq. Been here about 14 years. I run the engagement teams that work with our clients and our offshore delivery centres, ultimately to try to deliver successful outcomes for our clients.
Thank you. Welcome to the panel, Phil, again. Then we have Rahul. Rahul Miglani, if you can please.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rahul. I am Cloud Practice Head here at Nasdaq. Love building and scaling DevOps, Cloud, and SRE tech stacks from scratch and helping our clients have high availability, observability, scalability to ensure robust systems. Nice to be here, Khalid.
Thank you, Rahul. It's a pleasure to have you guys. Ash, finally.
Thank you. So it's Ash Vekaria. I'm based here in London, best city in the world, of course. Focus on the practice, but a key focus on service management and how we can improve that and give our clients the best service we can. Thank you, Khalid.
Thank you, Ash. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for their lovely introduction, please. And welcome to the panel discussion today. All right, swiftly moving. One of the key advantages of the cloud is its ability to facilitate on-demand scaling. And Ash, ask you how cloud technology can enable enterprises to scale their operations up or down in response to fluctuating demand without having to make significant upfront investment in infrastructures.
Okay, so these days there's an ever increasing number of cloud technologies available to organizations, allowing for scaling of not just resources but costs. Now, normally the question most organizations would ask themselves first is what to adopt. However, the first consideration should really be the business driver and what the organization wants to address and achieve by scaling operations up or down. Now, for example, do organizations want to prioritize real-term performance over and above costs? And I think most guests in the session will probably already be aware of a lot of the common solutions in the cloud, so I don't want to go into detail, but in the case of performance, we should consider things like the self-service automation, which increases and decreases resources dependent on predefined thresholds or settings. And even better still, we have auto scaling and elasticity as well, which scales resources up and down in response to any sort of variation in demand automatically. And an example of this actually is where we have implemented auto scaling and elasticity for a client in the insurance sector. It's here their peak demand times essentially are automatically addressed to increase both performance and availability. And at the same time, what we achieved was this allowed the client to significantly reduce their manual interventions in their actual deployment process as well by around 60%. So let's not also forget that major cloud providers have a global presence as well. So organizations nowadays requiring additional resources in other geographical locations to ensure performance can actually easily do so without having to invest in their own globally diverse infrastructure. Similarly, and again, without going into too much detail of the solutions available, where cost is the predominant factor, organizations can consider utilizing what we call as a pay-as-you-go model, where resources can actually rapidly be spun up and down as and when they're required. And what you have is the flexibility to pay for, say, a service on an hourly usage. And a typical example here would be an application development environment, where test servers and resources would be required on a temporary basis. Now, in this case, it's not just the upfront investment that can be minimized, but the ongoing costs as well. They can be kept under control and optimized as well. And this is all the more important for smaller organizations where relatively high cloud costs could actually impact their very survival. And I've got a perfect example of a client where Nashtec's actually partnered with them to review their infrastructure usage. And we help them reduce their running costs by 40%, simply by changing to a tuned pay-as-you-go model. And this effective saving now is actually being repurposed to further enhance their application. And also it's actually being used to market the application to other international geographies. So in summary, I'd say given all of the options available, I would still strongly recommend not to jump into any particular solution without proper expert advice and due diligence. Khalid, back to you.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
I'll just add on to that. I know that Ash, you summarized by saying that yes, it requires due diligence. I think that is the key. So right now, Khalid, what is happening is that a lot of organizations, they think that the cloud is going to be the silver bullet. Once you jump onto the cloud, everything is going to get taken care of, and that's the place to be. But I think it needs a cloud strategy approach for any organization to jump onto the cloud, and taking a look at the cost factors as well. I know that we had a panel discussion earlier in which we discussed about the cloud cost optimizations. So to help with those kind of things, and I know Rahul is here with us, so he'll be able to explain it better. But so Rahul's team, they have prepared something that we call the cloud assessment tool, as well as we get into something that we call the fusion exercise. So as a part of the fusion exercise, an organization would come in, like a consulting technology organization like us would come in, and they would actually lay down the executable blueprint of the cloud strategy depending on what the business needs. So basis the business needs, you need a cloud strategy to be formulated before you can start jumping onto the cloud. Otherwise, it'll be just taking a leap of faith, and it might just go southwards as well. So I think that is the key, to what Ash said, that let's focus on getting expert advice as well as something like a fusion assessment to jump onto the cloud strategy.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that with us. And like we've discussed, the significant benefits of scaling in the cloud However, ensuring optimal performance, reliability, and resilience through all these scaling cycles is also crucial. And many businesses are shifting towards cloud native development also in the past coming years and quarters. So, I mean, Ash, I'm again looking at you for your thoughts. But Rahul and Vikas, I would also welcome your take as well. What is the significance of cloud native tooling and practices in optimizing performances, reliability, and resilience of applications running in the cloud environments?
Okay, so I think the question seems to cover a lot, but I'll give it a try. So one practice and area of interest is the use of machine learning and tooling to provide observability. And it's important to understand that observability is actually more than just monitoring. It combines telemetry and predictive AI to proactively understand behaviors that might not be anticipated. Now, one must remember first that to get the best out of machine learning, we must actually have access to both accurate historical data and real-time data. And if correctly implemented, AI-driven observability, unlike simple monitoring, can actually provide predictive analytics and allow organizations to make rapid data-driven decisions. And by using this real-time predictive data, organizations can actually proactively again address potential performance, reliability, and resilience concerns before they become an actual problem. And if you can imagine, this is an ideal environment then for support teams who are tasked with ensuring uptime and performance, and that's their sort of goal in life. Taking this even further, AI tooling and technology, it can be further utilized to automatically self-heal applications and cloud infrastructure. And this is where I see technology going to provide continuous service and performant user experiences. Now, in addition to the practices, one of the important things I think we should remember is we shouldn't forget about organizations having a robust governance model in place. Now, we have to remember that this should go hand in hand with the clear strategy. And again, going back to what Vikas said as well, strategy is important. And the strategy needs to be something where the organization has clearly set out what they want to achieve and potentially use tools necessary to do that job. And I guess on the subject of tooling, I'll probably hand over to Rahul, who I'm sure will be able to elaborate further, better and more deeper than I can.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Ash. As you mentioned earlier, observability goes beyond traditional monitoring. It has to have real-time predictive and forecast data available for us. Obviously, AI-powered tools can further analyze this data, then process, and then we can achieve what we call self-healing mechanisms, ensuring continuous service and platform user experience. As we all know, tooling is necessary because we do not want to generate millions of alerts and we don't know which are my actionable alerts. So starting with as complex as the chaos engineering tools, we have Chaos Monkey, we have Litmus Chaos. We introduce tools which can control failures, which can identify the system's ability to handle unexpected events, right? And then it goes to service mesh tools, wherein we want to manage communication between microservices and then improve reliability. But it can also start as simple as combining our CI/CD tools pipelines with infrastructure as a tool, tools like Terraform or CloudFormation, etc., so that they are aligned with our monitoring tools. We can generate dashboarding as simple as Prometheus Grafana, put Datadog on top of it, and collect and visualize. But as I said, the world is moving towards AI. How we analyze this further and automate self-healing is what we want to achieve. Vikas talked about how we go to our clients and use tools such as maturity assessments and cloud cost optimization audits. So that is also necessary in today's world because we want to make sure where we stand right now in our cloud usage and what tools we are using, and then what is our future vision looks like. So prioritizing automation with cloud cost optimization is the need of the hour. So adopting DevOps culture, shifting from monolithic to microservices architecture is basic bread and butter. I would like to bring in Vikas here. So what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, Rahul. So the way I'm thinking is that uh, the way I look at cloud tooling and uh, cloud native infra and like all those things is to primarily help the organizations accelerate their innovation and agility. So like a lot of this. So you talked about a lot of tooling, Rahul, and I know like all of this tooling does get used as a part of like our cloud development. But for me as an organization, if I'm focused on business, ultimately I want to be less and less worried about these things as to how they are being maintained, how they are being like kept running, and like how they are scaling, so on and so forth. So I think that is where the main advantage comes in, that it allows me as a business to accelerate my innovation and be agile in the changing environment. All the other things that we mentioned about, yes, like probably having a better cost structure, access to hardware that otherwise I would not have. So, for example, one of our clients recently, they were looking at access to GPUs. Now, instead of having GPUs in premise, they would rather, like use it on the cloud, like just do their analysis and see whether they need it or not. Similarly, another client of ours who are into, like very heavy optimization of parallel processing, they were using FPGA cards. Now, these FPGA cards are available in the cloud as compared to them having to procure that. So I think the access to the cutting edge technologies, along with all the other goodies that we talk about, data security, sustainability, like reduce costs, so on and so forth. I think that is the key here, because like once you can get access to these infrastructures on the cloud without actually having to pay for them, so you are actually leasing them, if you will. I think that is the key which allows you to drive innovation further. So again, I'm not yet on the AI bandwagon as much. I know that like probably I'm kind of left behind here, but my focus is like more on machine learning and actually making sure that people see the benefits out of that more than like the AI hype right now. So I just pause there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about a lot of things. And beyond all these benefits that we've discussed so far, cloud also has immense potential for driving innovation. And Vikas, as you've been talking about machine learning and AI, what are your thoughts on how cloud technology fosters innovation within enterprises, particularly through these capabilities in the area of AI, ML, IoT, and big data analytics?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, like one of course is access to all of this without actually you having to provision them yourselves. You are actually not like buying all of this; you are actually leasing this. So I think that is the biggest benefit. Apart from that, so like if you're specifically talking about AI and machine learning, you do get access to uh, hardware which is not something that you want to like buy. So like the GPUs, FPGA cards, that is one. Another thing that happens for a lot of our clients who are on various like different clouds is that there are pre-built AI machine learning models which are available. So you don't have to build them. Like nowadays we are in the age of applied AI. So we are not, like creating foundational models anymore. We are actually in the age of that these models exist. How do I apply it to my business in order to make the business better? And I think that is the key here, that how do we do that? So there are plenty of models available. Like if you go to Google, there is like their model garden. So there is natural language processing, there is image recognition, recommendation engines, chatbots, virtual assistants, like fraud detection models, predictive maintenance, speech to text, text to speech, so on and so forth. So various kind of models which are available for you to just like use them and make sure that they work along with their business. Similarly, on the IoT side, like most of the clouds, they have got their own IoT hubs that allow you to work along with various kind of devices on the edges. So IoT is primarily concerned about a lot of like sensor traffic, a lot of sensor data, like working with the edge where probably it is not physically possible for humans to be like present, or it is in dangerous situations, so on and so forth. So all of these devices, different kind of protocols, be it MQTT, AMQP, like various other protocols, all of this is available to you in the cloud infrastructure to say that, okay, I want to use this, I want to use this kind of a device, and this is what I want to do with this. So it comes along with their device services, application services, so that you can connect to the cloud, so on and so forth. On top of that, the clouds are making themselves ready for Industry 5.0. So yeah, like Industry 4.0 was a term that we were using a lot. That was very much focused on automation. But Industry 5.0 is that how do you make this automation coexist with humans together, so that the so-called robots and humans, they are working together. So these robots are called cobots now. So these are collaborative robots who are working along with humans. So that is the place of going to Industry 5.0. So quite a few of these things are already being provided in the cloud. And again, as you talked about big data has been there for a while. Like I know that we have been using this for a long time. So many of the clouds, they do provide the likes of hosted Apache Sparks and Hadoops, and like data lakes and data warehouses that we can go ahead and use to analyze large amounts of data, store them, process them, and work with them. So I think that is something that we have been using for a while now. But the machine learning models and the more and more things that we are seeing in the IoT space, I think that is something which is making it more and more interesting as we go ahead.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing that, because I mean it is quite a lot here, definitely. And yeah, and cloud is also, I mean, constantly evolving, leading to exciting new possibilities, be it for an enterprise with geographically dispersed operations, or one dealing with real-time data-intensive workloads. Rahul, how could cloud emerging trends like edge computing, serverless computing, and containerization potentially address these specific challenges and further unlock the potential of the cloud in terms of business?
Well, Khalid, that cloud computing continues to evolve. There are exciting new trends, as you said, edge computing. It processes data at the very close to its source, so at the edge of the network, rather than solely relying on centralized cloud data centers, which are costly, right? We have blockchain, right, which uses a lot of GPUs, right? So what are the benefits? We are going towards industry standard wherein we want to reduce latency. Even a few nanoseconds is slow. How we are reducing that is via these newer cutting edge technologies. With edge computing, we also know serverless computing has been there for a while now, but our output concern is we want to increase the agility. We want to have faster development, faster deployment cycles, and developers are right now responsible in managing their own servers. So this is what we are moving towards. Yes, we want to reduce the cost. We only want to pay for the resources we use, right? So serverless computing provides you that, eliminating the need to invest in and maintaining servers, right? One of our client is using which is colocation servers, right? So we are only paying for what we are using, but we are still able to utilize high quality data centers, right? We want to improve our scalability, automating scaling based agents, scaling on demand. We are moving towards bring your own licenses, bring your own databases, but will give you the platform, right? And obviously we have already talked about packaging and faster shipping. But what comes into my mind right now is how this innovation accelerates from a delivery point of view, right? We want to faster our innovation cycles. We want to empower our developers. We want to reduce the time to market. But what is the business impact? We want to enhance agility. We want to enhance flexibility. We want to have highly available systems. But we want to also have a look at the cost and the price of its delivery, right? So Phil, my question goes out to you. When delivering when planning deliveries, how do you incorporate these consideration? Because a cloud architect will come to you and ask you for edge computing, for spending money on bigger data centers, right? So how do you prioritize your investments to ensure that your delivery is successful, but yet the prices are controlled?
Well, thanks for the question, Raul. Deciding where to invest and what horse to back in terms of which cloud platform is a challenge, as it is with all technologies. As we all know, the traditional lines of between hardware, infrastructure, and technologies are blurred, and that's only made worse and accelerated with cloud platforms. So as a supplier of software development services, I guess my advice would be to specialize on a particular platform, like AWS, Azure, or GCP. Choosing the one that's most relevant to your particular business need or business problem. And then if you need to, like us, you would expand to other platforms. That wouldn't be necessary for every business, but that's the way I'd approach it. And I'd say the other thing is, you can look at lift and shift and use the platform as it is, but that will only provide you with limited benefit. And if you really want to get the full potential out of a cloud platform, you really need to look at the whole software delivery life cycle. So thinking about how do you build in that cloud adoption by design, and that may be around the operational aspects, but really I think you need to start looking at how the application is built, how it scales, and how you then adopt maybe some of the native services that give you a cutting edge in that cloud adoption space.
Yeah. Thank you, Phil, for sharing all that. Rahul, again, along with emerging trends that you've highlighted and talked about, we are also seeing a growing trends toward hybrid and multi-cloud deployments, offering enterprises greater flexibility and resiliences. However, managing such diverse cloud environments can introduce new complexities, obviously. So can you talk about the specific benefits of these deployment models, along with some of the key challenges that enterprises face when managing multiple cloud providers or a mix of on-premises and cloud infrastructure?
Absolutely, very very nice point, Khalid. So, what is the business impact is the main thing we ask our clients, and what is their future roadmap looks like. I think this is one of the questions we ask while going towards or while taking a decision towards hybrid cloud deployments and multi-cloud deployments. What we usually want to look at it, what is the number of users which are going to increase on a particular platform, or for example, if it is a HRMS client, how many number of users are going to use it at a concurrent time, right? So these are the business consideration, and then there are strategic considerations. For example, while having hybrid cloud deployments, we look at the future vision, and then we balance cost, then we balance security, cost, and agility by combining. For example, we can have a particular data center on premise. We might have geographical constraint, we might have political constraint to keep data on premise and sometimes data in the same country, right? So these are the consideration we have to look on to. But again, at end of the day, we have to make sure that this collaboration between on-premise infrastructure with public cloud services, we are going to optimize ROI, where we are investing and why we are investing in a particular service, whether I'm utilizing it to reduce the latency, or I am having high availability but yet a certain amount of latency. Similarly, in case of multi-cloud deployments, why we do it? We usually do it to prevent vendor lock-ins. I do not want to spend a lot of money by getting logged in a particular cloud provider, whereas I can certainly reduce my cost by leveraging services from other cloud provider. For example, I remember deploying SNS from AWS in a particular client who had a big HRMS system, and then utilizing service gateways on GCP, because that what cost money around 1700%, right? So we have to keep into mind whether I'm going to enhance my resilience or I'm going to prevent fault tolerances, how I'm driving my cloud services, and how I'm driving innovation, keeping in mind my the future of the product I'm working on, and also whether I'm not getting stuck in spending a lot of money on GPUs where I'm utilizing just a minimal amount of services. So there are challenges in management, yes. There are challenges in upskilling our engineers, but that is where you have to make your investments, right? So while I'm addressing complexity in governance, I have to also make sure that I'm saving money for everyone involved on the project, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
So, Khalid, if you would allow me, so
Yeah.
I know, Rahul, you did talk about costs, and we have been talking about money. We have been talking about. So recently, one of our clients, like I know that you did mention the colo model as well. So recently, one of our clients, they actually decided not to use a lot of services on the cloud, but get into a colo model, and just for the benefit of me and the group, like what does it actually mean? Does it actually help in reducing costs? What is the colo model?
All right, very good question, and an excellent one at that. Co-location, sometimes also known as colo, is actually the practice of renting out space for your servers and your other computer hardware at a third-party provider who's expert in that. For example, you can be a infrastructure giant, you can be a e-commerce giant, but let us say you are not expert in handling computer hardware. So what you usually do nowadays is hire a third party provider's data center facility, pay them rent on fixed basis, and then you use them. I remember one of our client is utilizing it to a great extent, and that actually is reduced a lot of space, right? So it is a shared space within the data center, but the resources within the racks and cages are not shared. I remember having a conversation with the same client on blockchain. He said, I will not spend a lot of money on electricity bills. I will not spend the money on the data center facility, but I'll reinvest that money in my infrastructure development wherein I'm expert on. So yes, it is a thing to look forward to. So people are not really blindly going onto the cloud and data center and spending money on that, but our thought process in how I'm doing strategic considerations, right? In deploying my cost and deploying my services, utilizing them at a at a less cost. I hope I've answered your question, Vikas.
Yeah, you did. I'm just curious, like would the security, like sustainability, other all the benefits that we get from the cloud, is that something that we expect from this third party provider as well? In that case,
Right. So
like
the third party, exactly. That's a very good point. So the third party provider is an expert in that. So he'll give you cloud security, he'll give you lesser latency, he'll give you lesser cost because he's expert in that, and he or she will have a bigger data center facility, which is not really it can be a pain for certain clients who are not experts in that, right? So they have a huge data center facility. So yes, your security is driven, your cost efficiency is driven, and obviously the availability, which most of our clients look forward to.
Got it.
Thank you. Thank you, Vikas, and thank you, Rahul. And beyond operational efficiencies, organizations are increasingly using cloud as a springboard for innovation as well. And Philip, FL, if you previously talked about some case studies, but yeah, can you also case studies of enterprises that have successfully leveraged cloud technology to drive business growth and create new revenue streams or maybe innovative business models?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, cloud adoption is not the exception anymore. It's more or less the norm. And there are many household names you'd recognise that are using cloud services, and you'd probably question whether they would exist or whether they would survive without a reliance on those services. Netflix, Spotify, Uber, Airbnb. They're all built on platforms and cloud services that allow them to scale and focus on their business offering. And those just tip of the iceberg. If you look at ISVs and SaaS platform providers who we work with extensively, they're all utilizing cloud services in one form or another. So maybe give some more real examples from a personal perspective. We work quite extensively with higher education establishments. Why? Well, we have extensive Moodle and SITS capability and industry sector knowledge. So in their industry, similar to other industries, they're really looking for to utilize the platforms to give them scale during peak load, with maybe an enrollment period or a busy hour period for online learning. And it allows them to focus their efforts on developing their core business, whereas maybe traditionally in years gone by, they would spend a lot of time and effort in terms of managing environments, employing large teams that understand and can control those environments. So I guess other industries where we see, I mean, Ash mentioned earlier the insurance industry that we deal with, where we're dealing with peak loads. Well, maybe to make that a little bit more real, when we're talking to insurance companies and they're doing online enrollment or online applications, it's really important then that for them that they can keep the application time to an absolute minimum, because their conversion ratio drops quite significantly the longer that application takes. So again, cloud platforms give them scale, but it also means that time to complete the application can be much more consistent within what they would expect, regardless of whether it's a busy period or a quieter period. I guess my experience is every sector is using cloud services for data analytics. You know, Vikas called it out earlier. So we're seeing many companies using it for business intelligence, given the features and the richness of features that are available around data. There are extensive specialist cloud data services with specific capabilities, and you know that gives businesses the ability to mine at scale, and ultimately allows them to make informed decisions, influencing their strategy, which would have cost a lot more in the past with investing through their own infrastructure and their own platforms and their own products.
Absolutely. And I'm mindful of the timings as well. So I mean, yeah, let's get on with the Q&A section. So I've combined a couple of questions as they look similar. So again, first question again goes to you, Phil. How can organizations address skill gaps and foster talent development in the context of cloud adoption?
Yeah, attracting and retaining skills is difficult for any organization, IT skills, and probably even more difficult for smaller organizations in terms of giving people career paths and retaining those people. Yeah, you can recruit locally, or you can work with specialist suppliers who, you know, companies like us, we heavily invest in developing these skills and our competencies. I guess there is benefit in using a party like us because you can work alongside us. You don't have to totally rely on us, but working at least alongside us, you will generally get adoption of good practice. We frequently invest in accelerators, and we share experience that we acquire across our clients that are ultimately encountering the same challenges and resolving the same challenges. So I think, yeah, you can develop and recruit your people, but I think there is a lot of benefit in working with suppliers like us that can give you a leg up and share our capability and experience.
Got it. Thank you. Next question is, how can organizations future-proof their cloud strategies to adapt to evolving technology and market trends? Ash, if you can take this, please.
Sure. Okay. So I think in my view, I'd say these days it'd be very unwise to have a rigid long-term strategy for organizations and the objectives. So you have to remember, if you want to sort of future-proof your cloud, then organizations should be clear about what they want to achieve in the first place. And this is maybe touching upon what Phil said earlier as well, you know, about having that clarity about what you want to achieve. But how you then sort of achieve that sort of goal should be an agile journey, in my view. And the reason for that is if you sort of think about your cloud strategy without thinking about being in isolation, it should align with the business objectives, not just a cloud strategy on its own from an IT point of view. And one key necessity here is to again have that agile mindset and try and embrace a bit of flexibility when it does come to sort of cloud vendors. Yes, you should focus on people or vendors you think will be able to provide your services, but then you need to be able to evolve with time as well. So try and be agile, try to avoid vendor lock-in as well. And this is something that Raul mentioned as well. It's important, you know, in the long term, not to have that lock-in, because technology, services, solutions, and tooling is evolving continuously. So you should be open to that, and even consider open source technology here as well, because that gives you that advantage to be able to move from one provider to another much more easily. And again, it's simple. It minimizes dependence and allows for portability. So I should actually just say it's not actually uncommon with organizations moving from one cloud provider to another. I think Raul, you mentioned it as well. We've helped a number of organizations already from moving from one cloud to another, and that's not just for technical or performance needs of the application as well. It's actually also about cost optimization. So it's just making sure you satisfy all of those objectives as you go along on your journey. And as Phil sort of touched upon early, it's about education and learning as well, and you know, to innovate. But it's also important to remember that organizations and solution providers can actually provide that help and take away the risk and investment from smaller organizations, especially, to give you that flexibility and cost efficiency.
Thank you, Ash.
Khalid, on that one, I just mention one thing that, you know, like you'll never be able to future proof, you know, like, so there is nothing called future proofing. Ultimately, you have to be ready for the future, and I think that is what you have to build on.
Absolutely.
So future proof is,
absolutely.
It's not possible.
Yeah. Moving on, Rahul, this one is for you, I believe. How can enterprises determine the right cloud strategy that aligns with their business objectives and growth aspirations?
Well, Khalid, a very good question again. Well, determining the right cloud strategy is crucial for anybody, for enterprises and for smaller organizations as well, to potentially increase the benefits of cloud computing. But first and foremost is what are their business objectives and aspirations. So clarity is the key. We have to set our targets. We have to be clear about what we want to achieve, whether we want to achieve cost optimization, whether we want to achieve scalability, availability, or innovation cycles, or other goals, right? And what are our future focus? For example, we need to have 6 to 9 months of vision. How many customers are going to come? How many users are going to use our product? And how can cloud support that growth, right? We have to assess our readiness. As Phil said, we have to be very cautious about the skill gap analysis and our inventory in that, and our engineers are ready for what the IT landscape is going to be in the next 6 to 9 months. Then comes the most important question of choosing the right cloud deploying model. We can have public cloud, we can have private cloud, we can have hybrid cloud, as we spoke earlier. Colo is another option, right? And then when we have already started, how we are going to select the service model. We can have infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. We right now have as a software as a service. We need to eliminate the need for a local instantiation and dependencies. We are moving towards zero-touch deployments and self-healing, right? So these mechanism has to be looked into as well. Again, we have to have a roadmap. We have to have governance in place. We need to see whether we are going to do phased approach. We are compliant, and we have security protocols in place. So that moves to resources as well. So cloud resource usage is tracked, data security is tracked, and compliance with regulations is tracked. So that is one of the most important considerations. But I would like to conclude it with tracking costs and benefits, right? So cloud cost optimization is one of the most important aspects we have to look into when we are choosing the right cloud strategy. As I said, with our bigger, insurance giants, we showed them the cost for next 9 months, and we made them migrate from one cloud to another because of the services we were about to, utilize for that insurance giant. So by understanding business needs, by understanding what is the right model for us, and by understanding newer things like co-locations and its potential benefits, you can make an informed decision. Khalid.
Thank you, Rahul. And in the interest of time, we'll take this last one. And I think this question goes to you, Vikas. Can you elaborate on some of the specific cloud-based AI/ML toolings that you have used in your customer engagements?
Yeah, so like depending on the cloud, there are different kind of tooling that we end up using. I'll probably talk about one of our like huge retail clients. So if you have worked in the retail sector, you'll know like the standard problems that a retail industry faces are like if you have got an e-commerce site, then like there is a low conversion rate, like low revenue per visit. You are talking about things like cart abandonment. How do you manage your inventory costs? How do you optimize them, and how do you ensure that there is a greater lift on the product sales on a week to week or a day to day basis? So like these are standard problems, and like if you have stores, how do you ensure that the stores are equipped with enough inventory so that like your customer walks in and he does not walk out empty handed? So various things into play. Now for this particular retail giant, we actually use the Google Cloud, and we use the models available on the Google Cloud in order to suffice the needs of promotional forecasting. So using the model garden, we actually invested in various models and tried to see based on the historic data using a particular model, like how are we getting the forecast which is as accurate as possible. Of course, like looping it back with the feedback cycles. But then apart from that, in order to improve some of the other things that I mentioned, use of recommendation engine, speech to text, text to speech for their call centers, translation AI, like when you are actually working in a diverse set of customers, like who are speaking French, who are speaking Spanish, who are speaking English, like so the translation AI, then document AI to build recipe engine. So like an interesting thing that we did for this client is that if you are coming and looking for pasta, then not only we show you that these are the pasta brands which are available for you to actually buy, but if you want to make your own pasta, then using document AI, this is the recipe for that, and how are the ingredients that you can buy in order to make your own pasta. So on and so forth. And like as I already mentioned, the contact center AI, using the contact center AI of Google Cloud to work along with Dialogflow in order to create like the dialogues for the chatbots in order to communicate with the customer. So across the ecosystem, heavily use the Google infrastructure, and these are some of the toolings that we use.
Thank you, Vikas, and utilize the entire 45 minutes, but I'll just take a couple of more minutes to summarize what we have all talked about, and probably that would be it. So we discussed about how prioritizing business drivers and needs organizations can utilize solutions like self-service automation, auto scaling, and elasticity to manage resources efficiently. And this not only enhances performance and availability, but also reduces the manual interventions and infrastructure costs, like Ash mentioned. And one key theme that emerged from the discussion was the increased adoption of cloud-native toolings and practices, where organizations are embracing cloud-native toolings for scalability, flexibility, and cost-effectiveness. Then we also discussed about how cloud technology fosters innovation within enterprises through capabilities like AI, ML, IoT, and big data analytics, and where AI, ML services offer computational power and scalability. IoT enables real-time processing and monitoring of devices, while big data analytics provide infrastructure for storing, processing, and analyzing large volumes of data. Another point was around the trends towards hybrid and multi-cloud developments that offers benefits like optimized resource utilization, reduce vendors lock-in risk, and enhance resiliences as well. And lastly, real-world examples showcasing cloud driving new business models and revenue streams across sectors, where some of the key learning involving peak load scaling, focusing on core competencies, and leveraging data analytics and capabilities. And finally, at the end, I would like to thank our panelists, Vikas, Phil, Rahul, and Ash, for all your insights and interesting stories. And I would also like to thank the audience for being such a wonderful and interactive audience. Thank you for your patience, everyone, guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Khaled.
Cheers, Khaled.
Bye.
Bye.